Hello my friends, welcome to the next Battlefield lore video. This video is all about the capture the flag mode. In my lore videos that I want to just show you guys what it was like to play the game and talk about things that you might not have heard in articles about it or read online. So this is going to be me describing what the game type was like to actually play. Most of the clan matches that you are going to see in this series later on will be, in fact all of the clan matches were done in CTF, especially in the PS2, because there just wasn't the numbers to play Conquest. There was loads of public games going on the PS2 that you could get a full room of Conquest, no problem. You could get a full room of CTF as well if that's the game type that happened to be playing that night. But it didn't make sense to do, because the numbers were so short in the clans back then, because the game was dying off. It wouldn't make sense to have a small, like a 2v2 in a Conquest room, because I'll show you later on the map differences between a CTF map and a Conquest map. I'll not go into a Conquest lore in this video, this is purely CTF, but I may just mention it a little bit. I think it would require an entire video, to maybe a couple of videos, to do a lore on just Conquest. But CTF is a relatively simple game type to explain. And the problem with clan matches would be if you played a Conquest clan match and you only had 2 or 3 people, because the maps were so large and the objectives were so far apart, there was just too much ground to cover, and there wouldn't have been enough people getting into the vehicles and stuff. It just wouldn't work. So that's why you'll see most of the clan matches, or all of the clan matches, are in CTF mode. So I thought the best lore to do early on before I start showing you clan matches would be one, a CTF lore and a kit lore, so you know what it's like to play the game. So the kit lore will be next. But CTF mode was one of my favourite game types actually. I played, even though back in the original Xbox and whenever the 360 was at its peak, I just loved playing CTF mode, because the difference between it and Conquest was the maps were so much more intimate and it was all about ground game. Even though some of the maps had vehicles like the tanks and the fast movers, the clan matches you would play with the maps that had tanks, there was like a gentleman agreement before the game would start that there was no tanks would be used. It was purely ground. An example of this is you'll see a level later on in the series called Cold Front, and it had 2 tanks, but you'll never see anyone getting into those tanks. Again, because it's just an agreement that would, it wasn't even, it was like an unspoken thing to CTF players: don't get in the tanks. It's just, this is about ground. If you can't beat us on ground, just don't play us. And that was a big thing between the Conquest players and the CTF players. Conquest players, although there was loads of good Conquest players, and it's a totally different game, and it's far, I would say, more tactical in some ways. But there are tactics in CTF which we'll get to. But a lot of Conquest players I found hid behind their vehicles. Some of them were just tank players. They just get into a tank. They were great in them. They would just sit in that thing and just repair it, and they would beat you. Like, to me, I preferred just ground. Like, if you were good on ground, you could do anything, I think. And that's just what I prefer. But I love the CTF mode, and it annoyed me so much to see that it came out of the Battlefield series. Whenever I got Bad Company, I was sad to see CTF go, and it replaced it with Rush mode, which I thought was really unbalanced. In fact, I made a video on my channel quite a while ago describing why it was unbalanced, and let's see if I can find a picture of that. Let's see, do you have a picture? Yeah, this is it here. So it was the Vietnam mode in Bad Company 2. Like, I made a video about Bad Company back in the day, and then I made a video about Bad Company 2, but it wasn't until Vietnam came out that the problems with the Rush mode really shone through. Like, it was undeniable in that game, just how unbalanced it was. And just to save you, if you can go back and watch that video, but to save you the hassle of watching the whole video, it basically comes down to one team gets, the attacker team will get the best vehicles, the defender team won't get really any vehicles, which was stupid. And then in some maps, the attackers could be pinned in their base and just couldn't get out of their base and stuff. So to me, a game is all about balance, and you'll see that in this video. I hope to illustrate that a little bit with the CTF mode. So let's open up our first video, which is me recording the Chinese flag. I don't know why I did this, but this is like, I think this was recorded on the, let's see, I've got the Chinese flag, this is me like picking it up. And then the American flag on the same map. This is Bridge Too Far. And I don't know if I recorded, oh yeah, it froze. I don't know if I recorded this on the PlayStation 2 or the Xbox, but probably the Xbox, because the servers on it, whenever it died, I got on there and just recorded a bunch of random like B-roll footage to have. Just, I don't even know why, I was just recording this stuff just to have it. But there's the flag, so that's the Chinese flag, and you'll see me just walk over and pick it up. That's how you collect the flag. You can just walk into it. You can also drive into it, which we'll come to later on. You don't have to be on foot, because I remember playing like Halo and it had a CTF mode, and remember thinking it was awkward how, well, it made sense as well. So in Halo, when you pick up the flag, you are carrying that flag, and you can't even shoot your gun. That's not like that in Battlefield. In Battlefield, you just pick it up. You just can still play as you normally would. You can jump in a car, you can drive a car. In Halo, from memory, because I remember just going from this to play Halo Online straight after this. This was my first online game. Halo was probably my second. And I remember picking up the flag in Halo and not being able to shoot, and I found that really awkward. And then I couldn't even get into the Warthog. I could only get into the passenger side. In Battlefield, you can pick up the flag, shoot people, jump into the car, drive away. You could even jump into your car and drive over the flag, which I'll show you in a little bit more detail later. But it's pretty self-explanatory. If you've ever played any other game that has CTF mode, I'll show you another video. Let's see. This is, let me just go widescreen here. This is Russian border. I think, again, this footage would like, so whenever you join a game in Battlefield, you just join in and then you hope people will join your server. You can actually create a server and people will see you're joining. So what I would do is I would get online, and then there would be like, everyone would be playing Conquest, because Conquest was the most popular game type, but I loved some CTF. So I would just go and create a CTF room and hope people would slowly trickle over. And I would do it like where I'd join a Conquest game, wait for it to end, and just before it ended, like a minute before it ended, I would go and create a CTF mode, because I knew people would leave that room to start search for another one, and then this room would start filling up. So right here I'm just recording footage. You just see me walking from one side of the map to the other, picking up the flag, and then slowly walking it back. I think this footage was actually recorded for another video I made on Battlefield. It may even have been a Bad Company video or something, where I was describing how simple the CTF mode is. It's just, you walk from one side of the map, pick up the enemy flag, bring it back, and it's as simple as that. And you could think, well, story over, we don't need to know anymore, that's all it is. But within that, as simple as it is, it can get really complex, and it can actually get really tactical. Like, that's the thing about Battlefield. On the surface, it just looks like a run and gun game, and in some ways that's what it is. If you want to play like that, just fine, but if you're playing for the objective and you're playing to win, you can be really tactical with how you defend your flag, when to pick up your flag, how to attack the enemy team's flag, and then you can bring your kits into it and stuff like that. So, and I'll try and show you guys some of that. That was me, let me pause that. That was me demonstrating, like, there's me standing in the middle of the flag, the middle of the map in CTF. It doesn't get any more simple than this. This map in particular, there's a warehouse in the middle of the map. Each team spawns either side of the warehouse, and you can go inside the warehouse and walk around the gantries and stuff like that. You can even get on the roof if you know how to. And it's just, it's like you can literally climb up your gantry and look and see the enemy's flag. They're so close to each other, and it doesn't get much more simple as a game type, but sometimes that works. Like, that seriously works. I talked about this if you look at my Gears of War video, I talk about how if you divide a map in Gears of War, if you draw a line down a Gears of War map, you can literally mirror that map, and it's so balanced. Like, you could run the same distance to get from each weapon, no matter which side of the map you spawn on, which team you spawn on. Like, they've thought about that so well and how they've got that balanced, and the same thing happens here, which always surprised me whenever we went to Rush and it was so unbalanced. Like, I don't know why you would make a game type unbalanced. It's like, to me, it's like if you had a chess game and you give one, like the white team had like 3 queens and the black had like no queens. And that's simply what Rush mode is. Like, sometimes in Bad Company and Rush mode, you'll have 3 enemy tanks against like no tanks. You have to keep it balanced, I think, and that's where Rush mode went way wrong, which is just, it's crazy to me. Like, if I was designing a game, the first thing I would do was get a balance, and it worries me. Like, nowadays when you see games, I worry that unbalance is actually factored into it a little bit, so they know that people want to pay for better weapons, especially in like pay to win games. Usually if there's a huge unbalance in a game, it's so that people feel the need to pay or unlock new stuff to make it, to even out that balance. And I just think it's cheap whenever I get killed by something that because someone paid for something, or even legitimately unlocked something that I didn't have. You'll not find that in Battlefield. In my next video I'll cover the kits, and all the kits are balanced. Everyone has the same playing field. If you don't like someone sniping you, then you pick the sniper and snipe them back. There's nothing hidden away or hidden behind a paywall or anything like that. So let's go back to our standard resolution, and let's open up our PDF viewer. So this is the first time you will see what I'll call the Bible, the Battlefield Bible. This is like a guide that I bought. Like, I bought this years after, I seen it cheap on eBay and bought it years after the game had died, just out of nostalgia and just to give it a read. Like, there's some cool stuff in here, and like, it's a good guide. Like, literally it is a guide, that's what it is, and it covers the online mode and stuff. You'll see all sorts of like maps, and then like it'll tell you the different kits and stuff, and it's a good guide, but it's no substitute for experience. Like, it'll tell you like what guns are in the game, but it'll not tell you maybe what tactics to use with them guns or how to use them and stuff like that. How many bullets it takes to kill someone with the guns. It doesn't tell you that. It'll tell you like, it'll give you a little damage thing. But it's actually part of the reason I bought this was because I wanted to like have a look at I knew there was maps in there for each of the levels, and I wanted to have a look at some of them maps because I couldn't find good images of them online or anything. So this is what I'm going to use it for right now. See if I can zoom out a little bit. So I'm just going to talk over a few of the different maps. So and how they change depending on what game type you play. So this is Bridge Too Far. Between me and my friends, when we played this, we started calling this level Bridge Too Much, because that's all anyone would ever play in CTF, especially in clan matches. Like, people just practice that game type or that level, and it got to the point where people wouldn't play us unless it was Bridge Too Far. And we made a joke about that. We just like, oh, Bridge Too Far or nothing. Like, that's all people would ever say. And we would usually say like, okay, we'll play you Bridge Too Far if you play us this other map. And that's how we would get to play some of the better maps, or some of our more favorite maps, like Russian Border and stuff like that. But as you can see here, so this is the full map. So what happens is Conquest, that you get the whole maps unlocked, and in CTF it hones down So what you have here is the American base. No, sorry, that's actually the Chinese base over here in this side, and then the US base here. The Apache would spawn that green spot there, and then I think the other green spot was like, I think there was a tank there and then a tank on the other side. And then the Chinese helicopter would spawn here. A little bit more capacity. Like what would typically happen in a bridge too far conquest maps at the start is people spawn the base, they take the tanks across the bridges, and then the chopper would load up on about 5 people, and those 5 people would generally jump out on some of the flags, and then there would be a helicopter would have a fight with each other, and whoever would win that would then go on to probably dominate for a while at least. So that's conquest game type or map. This is it in CTF mode, so it's just the middle area. It's like it just cuts out all the stuff you don't need and just hones in on the best bits, I think, and it focuses on this like shipping container bit down here. And you can see there's the Chinese flag there, which I showed you earlier in the video, and then the US flag. Quite close to each other, like a short drive or maybe a 2-minute walk in through the containers. Like some really cool gunfights went on in there, and then the fast movers would be driving out around and trying to sneak in around the back of some of these buildings. Sorry, I'm trying to cut off there. They had to be sneaking around these buildings under that you can drive under the bridge. It's still inbounds, but the out of bounds is not much further than the other side of that bridge. So you could drive around the back of the base, stuff like that, drive along the water side. In fact, I think this guide actually shows this, which was really cool. And it shows you driving up over the bridge and stuff like, but no one ever did that unless you were trying to drive away from people or something. What's it say here? You should avoid the heavy fighting in the mid-grounds between the 2 flags. Racing along the narrow strip of land along the south side of the docks. We used to call that water side. If someone spotted a fast mover coming down that way, because it was a real sneaky way to go down that side, because it's not really in plain sight. Any snipers that were looking down the road wouldn't see that, and you could sneak around there. If anyone had any, usually what would happen is someone would die and then spawn back in and just shout out over the comms. They'd just be like, fast mover going down water side, and then everyone would try and stop them. So that's it. So it's basically hones in on that. So that's bridge too far, which you'll see a lot of. Trust me, like it's probably of the clan matches I've recorded, it's probably the most requested level. Next is Russian border. This was one of Nomad Soul's favorite levels. Like, I don't want to say we were unbeaten on it, because we definitely got beat, but like I would say our win-loss ratio was like 8 wins to 1 loss. Like we just were we played that. It just like clicked with us. Like we just loved this map. And it was the one where I showed you the footage of running through the warehouse. Like it was just nice and simple map. It had everything. It had the fast movers and some good gunfights within the warehouse and stuff like that. That's the full map, so that like you can see the 2 army bases, but the CTF version of it, it's just cuts out just all the base stuff really, and then you can just drive all out round it. You'll see that. Cold Front is like one of the biggest maps in Conquest, but one of the smallest maps in CTF, so it's kind of an interesting one there. So we've got the 2 bases, EU base and then a Chinese base, with lots of flags in the middle. But if the CTF game type of it zooms in just on this bit here, which I'll show you down here, just focuses on this little bit. So it's a tiny little town, and really intense gunfights. You just basically it spawned in and you'd be right beside each other. There were 2 tanks in it, so there were, but no one used them if it was a clan match. You could actually see this bridge along here. You could actually go a really unpractical thing to do, but you could actually get up onto that bridge, and the way you would do that was to use you could use the medic as a support guy who injected himself. But what you would do is you'd take all 3 injections and then run out of bounds, and that healing effect lasts for quite a while. So it'll heal you as like, you just make it like the narrowest margin. You run out of bounds and then you start slowly dying. But because you've like healed yourself 3 times, your health's also coming up. So as it's going down, it's kind of coming up. And you can just time it right so you can get on the bridge. There's no real reason to do it, no tactical reason to do it. Because, I mean, all someone has to do is spawn in as a sniper and just snipe you off the bridge. But I remember a friend of mine worked out that if you had a sniper rifle just at the out of bounds bit and then killed yourself, then ran over with the medic, healed yourself 3 times, picked up the sniper rifle, you're still under the influence of the health, so you can run out and then heal yourself and get up there with a sniper rifle. Because there's no point in being up there with a support gun. But so that's just like a small overview. I think I'll probably do a video on all the maps, but that's the main ones that you'll see come up more and more in the clan matches and stuff. So that's just a bit of an overview of those maps. So we'll go over that. We'll go over a few like defensive things first, a few things that you might do. Let's see if I've got some footage here that I can show you guys. Oh yeah, so I'll show you some. Let's get this up. Sorry. Let's go a little bit more widescreen. So again, this is just me messing about, showing you how to defend your flag. So the first thing I would have done, so you can already see I've spawned in here and put 3 landmines down, and you can lay up to 9 landmines, and after that they start disappearing. And that was with the engineer class. So like you'll see me spawn, I do a lot of defense on the flag first thing, so you'll see me spawning as engineer a lot. And then you just put your landmines down. The kit I was there now was the special ops. I think I'm gonna. The special ops had the C4, which I'll show you in a wee minute. But I think I'm gonna give an example here of my landmines. I think I'm gonna mortar the flag. Oh yeah, I think I'm switching kits. Yeah. So you can C4 the flag, so what you can do is lay your landmines, and then you can die or spawn in as a different kit, and those landmines will stay there for the rest of the game. They won't move unless they blow up or someone shoots them or whatever. And then you can spawn as this, after you laid your landmines, spawn as the C4 guy who is the specialist. No, wait, he's called the specialist. But once you lay your C4 with the specialist, you have to switch back to the button, and then you just press the button. But if you die, then that C4 disappears with you, and then you have to put your more C4 down, because it wouldn't remember where you've put it and stuff like that. So it's pretty much tied to that spawn if you think about it like that. And what you can do is just double up. One of the first things I ever did in Battlefield, my friend taught me how to do it, was just like, here's a good way to get some kills. Throw some C4 on the flag, and then go about your day. Just go and play the game as you normally would. And if someone picks up the flag, no matter where you are on the map, the game tells you someone has taken our flag, and you just switch to the C4 quickly and then press it, and then usually you'll get a kill. And that was my friend just taught me that. He was just like, here's a good way to get an easy kill. Throw a C4 there. Someone will probably pick it up. At some point in the level, someone will pick that up. There's an easy kill. And that stuck with me for the whole of playing. Like, in fact, I think, I don't have any screenshots of it. I may try and look for it, but I think I was actually ranked quite highly for C4 kills. I think I was like 13th in the world for C4 kills purely for that reason. And it was a really good defensive thing. Sometimes in a clan match, you would just sit with the C4, and you would literally just sit behind like that burning bus there and just sit with your button like ready to press. But in public matches and stuff like that, and in other games, you'll see me like I just like quickly switch back to it, and stuff like that. So, but the thing about C4 is that if you lay it just like just on the floor, what happens is that C4 disappears by either someone throwing a grenade on the flag before they pick it up, or someone mortaring the flag, which is more likely to happen, or a landmine could go off near your C4 and that'll set it off and stuff like that. So what people figured out quite close to the end of the game, at least I noticed it closer to the end of the game, was that people started putting C4 right in the stump of the flag. And I'll show you me doing this now. So you aim right for the little center, like right where the flag is poking out, and you throw it, and it kind of is sitting at like a funny angle there. And I noticed people doing this in clan matches and stuff, and I was like, why are they doing that? Why are they aiming specifically for that point? And the reason for this is that at least the reason I think anyway, so I'm going to throw some C4 as I typically would have done, you know, whenever I first played the game I would have kind of had it spread out a little bit so that when they pick the flag up they're travelling a little bit and I've got a little bit of a delay. And actually I think I want to change kits here, and my C4 still stays there because I think I can switch back to the kit and then I still have that C4. But it is still on the ground there, and so I'm going to demonstrate by putting a mortar on the flag now, and just to show you what stays and what doesn't stay. In fact, let me just play that. And actually, that's a good point there. I looked over at the flag. You can actually stand at our flag now and point to the enemy flag and just call mortars in. And that was a tactic. People would have done that in our bigger clan matches where we would have like 12 versus 12, people would, all they would do was just stand and mortar our flag. That would have been your role. So if you had loads of players, one person would have been dedicated to landmines. Your job in that game would just be landmining the flag. One person could even be dedicated to just giving a GPS. Like, you'll have no idea how much of a benefit having a GPS is, which is I didn't explain that, but the sniper has a one of his special items is like a GPS button where you press it and it shows you the position of all the enemy team. And having someone just sitting on a ammo crate and just giving out GPSs the whole match could win or lose you the game, because it tells you when people are flanking, where the fast movers are, like if people are ready to attack, where the snipers are, all sorts of stuff. So, but in our bigger clan matches on the original Xbox, there wouldn't be a time where there wasn't a mortar dropping on. Sometimes I remember clan matches where 3 people would be dropping mortars. It was insane. And it really did a great job in stopping you from defending your flag, because you didn't want to run up and you wouldn't want to run into a mortar and put a landmine down, because it just wouldn't work. So clan matches, bigger clan matches, were insane. They were totally different to what some of the smaller ones would be. So this is me calling in a mortar on the flag that I've just put up all of my defense on. Like, that's as defensive as you want it to be. Like 3 landmines on it, 2 or 3 C4s. And you can see already that one mortar strike wiped out all landmines. And you can imagine in a clan match how beneficial that would be if you have people rushing the flag in cars, and someone in your team has synchronized it where, like, you know, you would get into like a rhythm where you know your flag runner's going to the flag, and you call that mortar in and sometimes you didn't get the timing right. Sometimes, like, if you weren't working well together, you would go in and your teammate's mortar would come down on you and kill you. And that happened a lot. Like, that's just part of it. But like, if you synchronized it right and you called it out on the mic and you were like, okay, I'm going to call in a mortar now, and then like you timed it just perfectly, you could just get in there after the mortar, and then there would be no defensive stuff on the flag at all. So that was the ideal way of doing it. So, but what you'll see is, okay, so all the landmines are gone, but as you can see, my C4 is still there. That C4 that's in the stump, and I don't think it was ever properly explained or anything, but the way I see it is that there's a certain amount of splash damage your mortar will have, and when that mortar hits the ground, it like splashes outwards and it'll like cover the flat plane of the surface of the ground. But because the flag is now, and if I put C4 on the flat bit of the flag, I think even then it would still have taken it out. But because the C4 is in the stump, I don't think there's enough, like, it doesn't travel enough along enough planes, if you like. So like the splash damage will come up the flag and possibly even go up the top of the stump, but it's not then going to go over the stump and then down into that hole. It could be that, or it could just be that the center of the stump doesn't have the splash damage programming coded into it or something. I mean, I don't know what it is about it, but basically if you put C4 in there, no mortar can touch it, and it's so effective because you have the peace of mind of knowing, okay, all this stuff has went off, but I know my C4 is almost 100% of the time going to be there. I've never had it where it's not. I've had snipers shoot C4 out before, but I've never had a mortar taking out C4 that's right down in the hole like that. And it was brilliant for, like, so the enemy team would drop their mortar, they think the whole place is clear, they drive up and try and get the flag, and you just C4 them, and very effective defense. So that's like that is just a small amount of defense. I mean, there's other things we could go into, but I don't know. I would probably have to have a whole lore video on tactics, I guess. But that's just a couple of like really basic ones. I mean, it's just kind of obvious, but if you've never played the game, this is like, I want to make these lore videos in a way that's accessible for people who have never played it, and just trying to explain as much as I can here, and so that whenever I do start showing full clan matches, I don't need to explain this stuff over and over again. Like, you just know that whenever I spawn in, I'm going to do this and things are happening, because then you can focus on the other things that are happening, what the other team's doing and stuff, more than just the day-to-day schematics of what it's like to play this. So I'm going to go to a typical typical CTF game. Just a standard. This is actually a clan match, but just which one is it? Flag cap, I think I called this file. Yeah. So this is what you'll find. This is a 2v2 clan match on Bridge Too Far. The game's just starting. And this is what you'll find me doing 70% of the time whenever I spawn in. Spawn as engineer, just to set up my defense. Try and get my 9 landmines planted. And in this map in particular, I'll pretty much Russian border. I mix it up a little bit because I know that if you're the thing with like Battlefield is, and clan matches, if you're predictable, the enemy team know how you play, so you always have to be kind of second guessing them, and you always have to be thinking, right, what are they going to do next? Okay, so like, and you will see this in clan matches where I'll know I'll kill someone that's about to pick up the flag from the front, and somehow I'll know that they're going to come from the back next time. I don't know what it is. Like, it's just like, you get to a stage where it's just like intuition, like you just know where they're going to be next. And part of being a good player is not being predictable. And the more you play the game, the more you start to see patterns and see what people are doing. And so for that reason, on any other map, Russian border, you'll see me scatter my mines in different places every time. And that way, that if you kill someone on a certain place, they'll just avoid that place next. So there's no point in putting a landmine there, because they'll be like, oh, he's mining that area up, I'm not going there, I'll go this way. And that's when, the minute you get that landmine kill, you're like, now I'm going to start landmining that road. You know, so you have to keep one step ahead of the enemy team. Except on, well, for me, except on Bridge Too Far, I always put my landmines in here. And it's for the same reason as why I put the C4 in the flag stump, because this is just from playing the game so much, and you start to optimize little things in the game where you start knowing where the best place to put things are, And even though you know, well, they're going to know that there's stuff there, like they'll know I put my landmines here. Even though they know that, it's still worth doing because it slows them down. Like putting a landmine here stops them from driving in that at fast pace, you know. And me knowing that they're not going to come down that way now means that it limits my options, so I know that they can only come from this way or that way, things like that. And so the train tracks, when you put a row of landmines in the train tracks, I think we're being stacked right now. They got an extra player in. That's why I start to invite Rack and Norris in. And they've just collected our flag. So let's see what they do with this. They're going to walk it down actually. And right now I'm on my own. Walking it in some ways is worse for me because I'm an engineer right now. And the engineer class isn't good for attacking or trying to get your flag back. Unless they're in a vehicle. Oh, and it's up to me now. Picked up, yeah, killed him. Luckily he has back to me. Picked up the flag. So yeah, like, so when they drop mortars on the flag now, I know that my landmines will still be there, and it's just such a painful thing to have a row of, let's see, I'm going to pick up this flag here. They've got C4 in the flag. And I got landmines, so they knew to put the landmines in the train tracks as well, and that's a perfect example. In the heat of the moment, you've done everything else, you've picked up the flag, you're in a car. It's the quickest way of getting out of there to drive over the train tracks, so you just do it, and you just hope that they haven't put landmines there, or you hope that for some reason they blew up or something, but they won't have blown up from a mortar because the mortars just, I think they hit off the train track or something. They don't go in over the train track and down and set off your mortars. But then because I've been killed by them landmines, I know there's potentially no landmines there, so I'll try it again, and that's what ends up happening. And that's why I just keep placing them there, because you know that people hope they're not there, so they just drive over it. And as well as that, one other thing you might have picked up on is that once one landmine blows up, if there's another landmine close to it, that'll also blow up. So you might think, well, why lay 3? And it's kind of, it's not the most optimized way of laying them. You could like lay them far enough apart that they don't all blow up. But the reason to lay 3 is that you know there's a barrier that they can't drive over. There's like a whole section there that they just can't drive over. If you lay them and spread them out too much, they can get in around them, like just by fluke. They could just fluckily get in past them. So it's better just to have a barrier there right in the front of the flag. And if you want, you can actually have 2 rows, because there's 2 train tracks that run along the flag. So you could have 2 perfect rows there that won't be disturbed by the mortars. So that's what you'll see a lot defensively. Like you'll see me just put landmines there. In the same match, what I'm going to show you, so you skip it forward a little bit to 3 minutes 25. Here we are. Oh, what's happened to the picture? Oh, I think I need to reopen that or something. I had it paused for too long. So in the same match, what I'm going to show you is a traditional way of capturing a flag. In fact, returning a flag. So this is a good example of what happens. In fact, you've already seen me return the last flag. Okay, let me just say what happened there. Okay, so you seen me put, remember I said when I put the landmine in between the containers, I was like, at least I know they can't drive through that way. So that's what he was just about to do. He picked up the flag in the car and was just about to drive out of our base, and if he would have got out of our base, he would have been gone. There's no way I could have caught up to him. Even if I tried to jump in my vehicle and drive after him, it wouldn't have worked. So what's happened there is he's seen the landmine and jumped out at the last minute. And that's why you can see there's 1 point. So what that 1 point represents is that I got a point for destroying a vehicle, because even though he was outside the vehicle, the game just kind of, there's like a couple of seconds where it still gives you the point. So he's jumped out, his vehicle's now blown up, and he's on foot, so that's good because he's easier to catch up with. I try and rocket him, but he ends up killing me. At this point we're stacked, we're 3 to 2, so that's why I'm sending an invite and a message to this guy. I'm kind of panicking. And accidentally, I think I must have spawned as the engineer, because I was like worried that they would jump in a car, and you need to have the engineer to get your rockets. Oh, and I hear a car behind me. Nice kill, really quick reactions there. Lucky not to kill myself, and I'm basically just running down this guy. I'm trying to get to him, and I get a really good rocket kill on him, like square on rocket kill. Returned our flag just before they get a chance to capture it, and we've now taken their flag. And I'm now just trying to basically do as much as I can to put the other team off while my player takes the flag down. So I'm just doing as much as I can to disrupt them, and I've done my job here. I've got 2 of them killed. I think I got killed by the last guy just in time for Racket Norris to come in. And so this is like this is the slow way of capturing flag. This is just like picking up and walking that thing back down, and that's like, in some ways that's the way it should be. You know, that is, if you're like a good clan, you should be able to do that. You should be able to take, say, 3 of your offensive players up, collect the flag, and then slowly walk it back down and kill their team as they're trying to get it back. That is the way you should, I suppose traditionally that's the way it's supposed to be played, I think. It's the idea, I don't know, it's kind of, to me it's like, it's the best way of doing it to prove that you earned that flag. Like if you can go up to their base, pick it up and just walk that thing back down and just like defend as you do it, and they're trying to get you back and stuff. That's the way to do it. I'm going to stop it there. This is a clan match, and I'll get to it whenever we do the clan match, but I'm going to show you one more thing in this very match, because it's a totally different way of collecting the flag, and it was a pretty insane capture. Like I was watching this footage, just like I was basically just looking for clan. I was looking for like a fast. I've got loads of footage of me just like quickly driving down and picking up, but this was one in a clan match. This is the same clan match a little bit later. This is the second round, so like you play 2 rounds, you play as each side, and this is us playing as the second side now. And what I've just done there is, you can see them in the radar on the top right hand side, I've just littered the base with landmines, and right now now that I've used my 9 landmines and I can't lay any more, I now want to spawn as C4, and I want to put some C4 in the flag, and I also want to have a spec ops, like an SMG, rather than, I don't like defending this side with the American shotgun. I just like to have a machine gun, so my defensive method here would be to just die and then spawn in as the other kit. But instead of just dying, I just go on a suicide run, and sometimes it works out. It's like, I would say, and it is a tactic, like you'll have in big clan matches, you'll have just cars just rushing, that's all they'll do, they'll just get in and rush, and this is what I do here, and it works really well for me. Like some really good driving, really quick, and the reason I'm showing this is because it's the total polar opposite of what the other capture method was, where you slowly walk the flag down and defend, and everyone's kind of trying to get it back. And as much as cool as that is, and that can be such a satisfying flag capture to do, this method works just as well, sometimes as well, you know, to win the match. And you do get some insane, you'll be in a clan match where you think that you're never going to capture, and just someone will just pull this insane capture out of the bag, and just everything, like the stars and the moon just has to line up with each other or something for this to happen, because especially in the bigger matches where there's just like mortars going off everywhere, there's like, you can imagine there's 12 people playing this game at times, and if all of those spawn as engineers, some maps can just be littered with landmines. It can be insane. But so to see someone just drive down the base, pick up the flag and get back up again with it, sometimes it was just insane to watch. So this was just a really good capture, I thought, and a couple of things went in my favor, and as always, like that's what you, any of these captures and any of these things that happen, there'll be an element of luck to them. So I drive over it with the car, really nice turns here, like I got these turns perfect. This turn in here I thought was really well done. It's almost like a clip through the storage container. I'm getting shot at by the enemy team, but I managed to pull off, I rocket him and it takes his health off, and then he tries to like noob tube me like with his underslung grenade, but he ends up killing himself. That was a really quick capture. And I think something really went in my favour in that capture, and I'll show you what it was. So as I'm coming down here, they have, what it appears there is like they have no defense in their flag, but what I think happened was Lil Breezy here, I know from experience, and like I remember he always had C4 in the flag, and that technique I was saying at the start of the video where you just play the game as you would, and then like if you suspect someone's going to your flag, or the game prompts you that someone's on your flag, you just switch over and detonate your C4, and he was actually really good at that. Like it was hard to get away from him if he had C4 on there. But if you watch the footage back, what happens is I drive in around here, I think he has C4 on the flag, but just at that moment, the very moment I'm about to pick up the flag, he dies, which means that his C4 is now no longer on the flag anymore. So it's free just to pick up. And as I pause there again, if you watch the corner, the right hand corner in between the train tracks there, you can see like a little black disc. And that, I'm pretty sure, is a landmine. So they probably have their landmines, they maybe weren't expecting me coming in that way, and they have their landmines on the train tracks. So I was lucky not to hit them. Pick up the flag. Now, there is somewhere he can spawn in here, and that is on the water side. He can actually spawn there, and but there's only one spawn. The rest of the spawns are, well, most of the other spawns are on the other side of the map. So like, me going down water side is like the best route to take because there's less spawns that way. But it does happen where, and you can cycle through the spawns, so he'll probably be looking for that waterside spawn. As I'm only saying that because that's what I would be doing. And what you want to do is you spawn in as if I get to the spawn's like right here, and if I got to like here and he spawned as the engineer, he could just quickly switch the rocket and just aim down the water side, because there's not a lot of margin of error for me there. It's quite tight, so you just need a nice straight rocket down the key wall there, and it would definitely take me out. And he maybe did spawn, I don't even know, but like I turn in it almost looks like I clipped through that, and that was a pretty good driving, because I've had loads and loads of times, and in fact I think it happens later on where I even clip lampposts. Like, it's really precise driving, and it doesn't take much to mess up, because like once I did that run, I was like, look, when you find a weak pot, like if you find a weak spot on an enemy team, like, you know, like they're not defending this bit, or they're not doing this, or let's say they spawn in as a sniper, you know they can't really defensively do much in certain vehicles. It's hard to snipe you. So I'm like, if I see someone spawn as a sniper, I'm like, great, now you've just given me your flag, I'll just jump in the car and drive down. There's very little you can do to defend, unless you're really, really good and you can snipe out of cars. And stuff like that. So I just like, you know what, Little Breezy just died again, perfect time to pick up. I know this route is not landmined unless they've spawned in since and landmined it. There, in fact they have, that was a landmine there. Just using the same route, but funny actually, I think I do get rocketed here. They've killed the whole team. Oh damn, I crashed. See what I mean? You can easily crash. They've spawned, I think, waterside. Fire a rocket down waterside, taking me out. You can actually turn in there as well, but he rocketed me before I could do that. And there he is, he's walking down waterside. He just got killed, and I think my teammate picks up the flag and captures it. So, there's one more thing about CTF that I haven't discussed in this, and that is a thing that can happen when. Oh no, actually, one other thing before I talk more about just as I was on the footage with about picking up the flag and the fast mover and driving by and stuff like that. One little thing I want to mention, and that is the way there's like a, and this is me like just trying to optimize it as much as I can, but you'll come up against these problems when you're in a fast mover. You want to be picking up the flag on the side, on the driver's side. So like the way that, so like I said, you can pick up the flag in a fast mover, but the way it works is that your hitbox as a character is still, it's not like the whole car can pick up the flag. So like you couldn't just drive up to the nose of your car and just like put the nose on the flag and pick it up. And it sounds like such a small thing, but it really matters. And it matters because it depends on where the landmines are going to be placed. And it also matters because it depends how you pick the flag up. And I actually have, you will see it happening. There's one of the clan matches I played where I accidentally, because there was a landmine on one side of the flag, I didn't go that way to try and pick it up. So I try and pick up the other side. And because like the passenger door, like, and there was no one in if there was a passenger in, then they would have picked up. So like you just have to be really careful about how you pick the flag up. And I'll show you an example. Let's see, I drew this up to try and explain it a little bit better. So this block here represents a fast mover, like a Humvee or something like that. So like if you imagine, like I actually think if you're playing as the EU team, like you'll be on the other side, like it'll actually alternate because depending on what country you're from, you'll sit on different sides of the car, the driver's seat. So imagine that this little box here is you in the car, and that's your hit box. And if you obviously this isn't drawn to scale or anything like that. It's just like just for like trying a rough guide. Pretty much. So if that was you in that car, what you would have to do is drive your car just on the edge of I'd say not that far, like here, just on the edge, and probably even like because I haven't drawn this to scale, it could even be like just here or something. But basically you can imagine if you try and drive up to the flag on this side, you'll not pick up the flag until you're like at this point, say like around here, and it's just not a clean pickup, and it really matters. Like it sounds like I'm probably going into too much detail, but these sort of things, when it's split second, like so when a sniper spawns in and he sees you, if you're giving him 2 or 3 seconds less, or like even like 0.5 of a second less to shoot at you, like that makes the difference. Or if someone has like C4 on the flag and you just like quickly go up to the side, pick up and drive off quick, you can get away from the blast radius of that C4. Whereas if you drive up this way, what happens is the front of your car hits the flag stump and it like flies you up in the air, makes it all clunky, and then you'll land sometimes, which is really infuriating, you'll land on the flag stump, the car will get jammed on there and you'll just not get away. Like you mightn't be permanently stuck there, but you may get stuck enough that it slows you really down, and that's one, like, when you pick up that flag, you are just a target. Like, it just, like, you know, like Metal Gear Solid where you get seen and all the guards just, like, the alerts go up and they all just look back at you. Like, that's the equivalent in Battlefield. If you pick up that flag, you have we used to call it the bullseye, and like, in the radar, if you look at the radar and you look at the big map, there's a bullseye in your head, so you need to get out of the area so quick. And the flag's where the most defense is and where everyone will be looking, so you want to get out of that area as quick as you can. And let me just show you a video of what that looks like. What a bad pickup would look like. This is an example of me. Oh, sorry, hold on. So this is an example of me jumping in a fast mover and picking up the flag, just like not trying to just like shear along the side of it, not trying, just kind of being sloppy, I guess. Just because of the angle of the turn I got, I just didn't get a good turn on, I think, or maybe I just didn't care. But this is what ends up happening. Now, I did pick up, and that was actually quite clean in comparison to what usually happens, but it's still slower. Like, it's definitely slower than what. It's not playing. This thing doesn't like getting rewind. Okay, I'll play again. So, even though it's like a matter of seconds, it all counts, and you don't want to leave anything to chance. So if you can pick up a flag a little bit cleaner, I say go for it. Like, you just have to optimize it as much as possible, especially if you're playing at a really high level and against like some of the best players to play the game. Like, people that you would have been playing against were putting hours and hours and hours into this. Like, they knew how to play that so well. And the other thing is, landmines are a real issue here, and how to actually set your landmines. Like, you could get into stupid detail on this, and you could really plan your landmines out based on where the enemy team is. I never did. Like, I never went to this detail. In fact, I kind of made a point of rotating every so often, so I wouldn't just always put it in the same 3 places. I'd start like, okay, now they're getting comfortable coming up this back way, I'll put one here. But you can imagine, like, if you put your 3 landmines there, it doesn't really affect this guy because he's going to want to just drive up this way and pick up, and he doesn't touch the landmines, and you'll see that loads. But if you were to put the landmine here and say the path, because sometimes the path's not always that good, like you'll have, like in Russian Border, you've got that burning bus, and you'll have things that just make it harder to access the flag from certain positions. So this car here is going to be driving, like if he's trying to drive the optimal way, he'll go there. But the landmine will get him, so like he'll have to kind of go this way, and it's not even, actually, I would argue it's not really even possible to pick up the flag that way in the car. So what you would probably do is like get to here and then park somewhere and then jump out, pick up, then go back in, because any way you pick up that flag, you're going to get landmined. But obviously, you could just come at it from this angle and pick up that way, or if you're in a car that the seat was in a different place or something like that, you could pick it up that way. But like I said, sometimes the path isn't there, like you can't always take that path, so it makes a big difference. It really does, and you may see silly things happening because of the way the cars interact with the flag and stuff like that. And yeah, so the last thing that I want to talk about is something that can happen when 2 people pick up the flag at the same time. And I like to call it a standoff. That's kind of what it is. Because what happens is, if you pick up the flag and the enemy team pick up the flag, you just can't capture, because what happens is you'll run back to your base and you'll try and put your flag there, but it'll say enemy team has your flag, and In other games, like I think in Halo you can still capture, and that always confused me because I used to pick up the flag and wait for our flag to come back, but then it turned out you just throw it in, you still can capture it. But the way Battlefield works is it's a standoff. And I'll show you just an example. Let's see. I'll show you a short example of this happening first. So this is another clan match. It took me a while to find examples of this, but it does occur. It occurs quite a lot actually. And it's usually what happens is, especially when two... wait a minute. Am I in the right thing here? Appears that the... No, why is it cut off a little bit? I don't know why the screen's cut off a little bit, but usually this happens whenever two defensive players, like I'm a defensive player, if I go and pick up the flag while an attacker's picking up the flag, or if two defensive players decide that they want to go and pick up the flag, and what happens is the flag's empty and then you can pick up okay, but then you can't capture it. So what's happening here is my teammate is picking up the enemy flag and the enemy's picked our flag up. You see me switch to the C4, but he must have destroyed it before I got a chance. So now my teammate is going up to try and capture the flag, which he can't, and I'm staying back to... this is really annoying, you can't see what's happening very well because the screen's cut off. I wonder why that's doing that. Okay, we can see the most of it. I don't know why the video's a little bit funny, but what's happening is you can see in the radar. No, you can't see in the radar because it doesn't come up. But the enemy's coming back down with the flag right now. So I'm just hanging back and waiting for him. That's a really good tactic to do, is actually, and as well as that, if someone picks up the flag and they're coming back to their base to spawn and you're at their base, you can just C4 their flag and blow it up before they capture it. So I kill their flag carrier, and I'm just on my way now to recover their flag. As I recover it, we capture ours. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell, really. That's what ends up happening. That's like a standoff. Now, it can happen a lot more than that. One more thing actually I want to just quickly say. This is an example of what can remember I was saying about the mortars in clan matches? This is what people would do. I've got an example of this, so I might as well show you guys. Get the line up the times here. Oh, I just got killed. Yeah, I got killed trying to do this, basically. So what people would do is they'd spawn a support and they'd wait right here in CTF, and I get killed before I do this, but you can see that there's traffic light, no, they're not traffic lights, there's just lights along the harbour there, and what people would do is sit on an ammo crate, and there's a traffic light just over by the flag, and it's like perfectly lined up with the flag, so all you have to do the whole match is just sit on the ammo crate and call constant mortars on the flag, and it would just wipe out all the landmines. And that was a really that tactic only came about near the end, and the day that happened, it was like nothing else, like just constant mortars. It was like the enemy team made a point of just like, it messed with your head. It was like a form of torture, just like these mortars, and you're trying to throw, like, it got to the point where so you threw a C4 and you didn't have time to run up to the flag and put it in the stump or nothing because the mortars were coming down so much, and you just throw out and run back, and then you throw out and run back and throw out and run back, and it got to the point where they timed it so well where two people would stand and do it, and it's like it was almost constant. And what would happen is you'd run up and try and throw your C4, and as you throw the C4 in the air, it would get caught by a mortar and it blow you up. So really effective tactic. But I guess it took someone out of commission too, because like, someone had just stand there the whole game. I've got 2 more examples I want to show you guys before I go. Another standoff, because these are all like every game you played. Has this been doing this the whole night? Has this been cutting off the whole night? Because why has it just happened all of a sudden? Did I press something? Maybe I zoomed in a bit. View. No. I think I must have changed the view. Fill? No. View. Okay, like I don't know, I need to play around with my settings, but at least you can see the full screen now. So yeah, every game you played and every clan match you played, even if you were playing the same people over and over again, it was so unique. Like what happened was the tactics would change, people would try different things, and things would just happen at different times. So I remember nights we would play the same clan 3 times in a row, and like even if it was the same match, it would just be so different every match. Every time you played it would be different. And these little things, like these little standoff scenarios, would be completely different every time as well. And I'm going to show you another example of one. Again, you can see the enemy team coming out of their base.
Great work, soldier.
As I pick up their flag, they respond by picking up. Now they could just stay at my flag and kill me as I come back, but instead they decide, look, the flag's open, I'm going to take it while I get the chance, and just hope that they kill us before we kill them. But it's really and this one I couldn't find, there's other examples of it, but in this one here is an example of just how it can be really tense. So like, especially if you're the flag carrier, so it's weird. It's like you immediately adopt this role, and it's like without even talking to your teammate, because I couldn't talk to Ragnaros in this level because we didn't have our mics in or anything on the PS2, or at least I don't know if Ragnaros had a mic, so I never spoke to Ragnaros before, but like just through text. But you automatically know your role as the person without the flag is to defend the person carrier and also try and get that flag back. So it was weird. It was like all of it. So there it comes up on the screen there. The enemy has your flag, but like all of a sudden the dynamic just changes. Like it just so you're just like playing this defensive role, and all of a sudden the whole game changes, and there'll be a little bit of cat and mouse. You never know what might happen. Like what's the best tactic here? Do me and Ragnaros team up and go and hunt them down? Do I leave him to go and do it and I just kind of hide, or do I drive around the map? And it's just like, it's always exciting just because it could play it completely different, and then after it happens you could be like, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that, and it's all part of it. I don't know, I don't think I'm going to show you. This is a clan match, so I'll leave this open. I'll leave it on a cliffhanger. What happens next? And that's the fun part about it. It's like you don't know what's going to happen. But I do have one more I want to show. The final one on tonight. The final thing, and it's because like, let's see. Let me see if I can bring it up first. It's like a final standoff. I think it's this one. Why is this doing this? I don't know why. Come on. I don't know how I got it to fix last time. I'm trying to fix the video so you guys can actually see it, but it's not working. It's frustrating. That's as good as it's going to get, unfortunately, until I figure out what has went wrong. So this is one, like I said, I've got loads and loads and loads of footage of this game, but you can imagine that when I'm making these lore videos and I'm trying to find something specific, one, I don't know if I have it. Okay, sorry, I had to pause this. One, I don't know if I have the footage, so I'm like, okay, I need to show some footage of me mortaring the flag. And it's so daunting because I've got like hundreds of files and I'm like, I didn't even play as the sport class very much. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to look through all of this footage to try and find this. And I wanted to show you guys, like, end on this, like show you an example of me, a standoff, an exciting standoff. And I knew I had one. I was like, okay, so this is it right here. The enemy has taken our flag. This is how it all starts. I've just spawned in after dying. And I in my head I was like, oh, I remember like I had this really cool standoff where, so obviously it's more exciting for the person that goes and retrieves the flag. Like that's the exciting part. It's like, if you have the flag and you have to capture the flag, all you do is hide. You're just like driving around hiding. And to be honest, like in some ways, in the heat of the moment, I'd rather be in that position because there's so much more pressure on you to if you're the attacker, you have to first of all defend the person that has the flag and also be good enough to go and possibly have to kill the other team and return your flag. And it's no small feat, especially to do on your own. And typically what happens is you'll both kind of coordinate it, or you'll kind of both push up and get your flag back. But I remember this one moment, I remember it happening, and it's funny because it happened like 10 years ago, but I just kind of stuck in my head, and I was like, oh, I remember that time, like it was up to me to go and get the flag back, and I pulled it off, just to sort of spoil the ending there, but...
We've taken the enemy flag.
And I've got like 100 clan matches, so I spent so long trying to find this. Not so long, not that long, like, but I just kept on flicking through footage until I found it, because I remember this setup. And so what's happened here is I just fired a rocket but missed. My guy's coming back, I think that's 0. He's coming back with our flag, and it's like, if I pause here, it's just like this mission has just opened up. It's just all, everything's just played out in front of me, and it's just like, it's almost like you're playing like a campaign game, and like this is all like been set up for it. It's like a set piece. It's like, and down the bottom right hand corner it's like objective, defend your flag carrier and retrieve your flag, or like the objective is get back your flag while also objective failed, whatever, like mission failed if your flag carrier dies and flag returned or something. So that's what it's like. It's like, you know, like in James Bond where you have like minimize scientist casualties. Oh, nice. So that was a rocket kill. So this is me like coming up into their base. The flag carrier's up there, and I'm making my way into the base, but also trying to kill. He C4'd his car, and I fired a rocket, and that rocket hit his car and blew up his C4, and he killed himself, which was really good for me because it meant that they don't know I'm coming. As far as they know, he's just like accidentally killed himself or whatever, and they have no idea where I am. They don't because there'll be a kill cam and stuff, and they'd have an idea of what direction I'm coming in. So I'm kind of stealthing my way in here. And yeah, I was about to say that the objective in James Bond GoldenEye was 007 GoldenEye was minimize scientist casualties, and that's like the objective in this is like minimize your teammate casualties, because if he dies, it's mission over. So this guy here has just spawned in, and in my head I'm like, I need to be killing him so that I can protect my flag carrier. So I don't show myself straight away. I wait for him. I know he's going to get in that car, so I wait for him to get in the car, kill him, and now I'm making my way up to try and get the flag back. Really nice shotgun kill. Couldn't have worked out any better. Captured our flag like that. was just the perfect sequence to me. I just remember at the time, just it couldn't have worked out any better for me. There were so many times that there are so many other ways that could have went, especially with an engineer kit. Like, going in there with an engineer kit is just not ideal to begin with. A shotgun in this map, it's so open and stuff, but like luckily I got up close to him and kind of sneaked up. And this just always stuck in my head as like, wow, that was a cool, like EA said like Battlefield moments, like what was your favourite Battlefield moment, and this was one that I remember, and I just remember when I was thinking, oh, I knew I would talk about standoffs in CTF because it does come up and it's an interesting thing that just occurs, and that was one of the more interesting standoffs that I had, because obviously I'm showing you the good ones, but there were plenty of times where I would have a standoff where like I would have to go and get the flag back and I would just be dying over and over again. It was getting to the point where it would be embarrassing, and like I'd have my teammate Putrid Razor, he'd just be like, you know what, you take the flag, I'm going to go and get this back, you know, because like I just would be dying and wasn't doing the best job. But that was one of the occasions where it did go my way, so that was pretty cool. I think that covers CTF as best as I can. There will be other things that I've probably left out, but I think hopefully that gives you guys a good idea of what the game type is like to play, so that whenever we go and play some full matches you'll have a better idea. So thanks guys for watching. I've set up a Discord chat for Battlefield. I've literally just set up, and I don't really know how to. I haven't worked on it that much, and no one's in it yet. But what I'll do is I'll leave a link to it in this the description of this video. And if you guys are on Discord and you're Battlefield fans, why don't you join in and we can maybe try and get a bit of a chat going. Feel free to just post up any memories you have of the game and stuff like that. And I'm also going to be hopefully doing podcasts pretty soon. I've got some people that are interested in joining over, some really good players that I remember from the Xbox. But if you, and some of those guys I already know, but if there's people out there that I don't know, feel free to drop me a line on Twitter or maybe Discord, or even comment on the video. And I would be happy just to chat about, even if, you know, just see what your stories are of the game. So there we go, there's the next lore video. Thanks for watching again, guys. Remember to check out my other Battlefield videos, and make sure you subscribe, because hopefully I'll have some more videos up very soon. Thanks for watching, guys.